like we did Hill, from 51387, and we're looking for 89.89 acres. So let's go ahead and start in the Grantee book, and we'll look for Mr. Harold Akins. Akins, page 5. Alrighty. There's Harold Akins. There's Harold Akins. That's not our property. Okay. The legal description here that matches the property of 89.89 acres says it's in book 59, page 129. So let's go pull that book and abstract the information off that link into this link sheet. 59, page 129. Flip to 129. Okay, now we'll abstract the information off the deed onto the link sheet, just as we did in all the previous ones, writing the names exactly as you see them. It's dated 4/2/85 and recorded 4/16/85, $10 consideration, and it's 89.89 acres. So we're following the same property backwards in time. Okay, as you can see, the name that we found during that deed reference was H. Clay Camp and William O. Camp sold it to Harold Akins. Now, since H. Clay Camp and William O. Camp sold it on 4/2/85, they had to have either purchased it on 4/2/85 or previous to that day, which makes sense. So now we're going to look in the Grantee books again, just like we did last time, from 4/2/85, the day they sold it, backwards in time. So we're looking for H. Clay Camp from 4/2/85. So we'll flip to the C's. Camp is set out at page 43. Flip to 43. And I'm looking for our 89.89 acres, H. Clay Camp. This is very important. You have to kind of go slow to make sure you don't miss the names. If you miss it, you'll find it when you get back to the early 1900s. You realize you made a mistake, and you'll have to start all over again. Okay, here's H. Clay Camp, but that's 11 acres, so that's not the property. We're looking for 90 acres. H. Clay Camp. Okay, we're at the end, and we're back to 1973. So this book itself went from January 1st of 73 to December 31st of 83. So 10 years are in this one book alone. So we're back to January the 1st of 73, and the Camps still own the property. So we haven't found out where they purchased it yet. So we're going to go back and go to 72 and continue backwards in time until we find the deed into the Camps. This takes us back to 1955. Now we're still looking for H. Clay and William O. Camp. 43 again. Now, Camp. H. Clay and William O.
Okay, thank you. You're so good.
Okay. Here's a deed in H. Clay and Hope, but it does not have, and it's an executor's deed, but it does not have a legal description. So we don't know if that's our deed or not. So I'm going to go ahead and make a note of it. It's in book QQ, page 133. So I'm going to go pull that book to determine whether or not that deed is our next deed back. QQ, page 133. Let's see if this is our deed. Okay. Okay, and we're reading the deed, 243rd District. And this is our next deed back. It is the 89.89 acres. So let's abstract the information off of this deed onto our link sheet. Mrs. Maud Sims Camp. And it is a warranty deed. And it's in book Q, page 133. And it's dated 3/27/64. And it's recorded 3/28/64. $10 consideration, and it's 89.89 acres. So that is our next deed. Now, how do we continue to go backwards? Do we even need to continue to go backwards? We're back to 1964. If we're going back 50 years, obviously, we're not back far enough. So let's take a look at the link sheet again. Mrs. Maud Sims Camp sells it to H. Clay Camp and William O. Camp on 3/27/64. Well, if she sold it, she had to purchase it, so she's the grantor here. On the previous deed, she'll be the grantee, the person receiving something. So we'll write her name in, and we will start from 3/27/64 in the grantee book under Mrs. Maud Sims Camp and continue backwards in time until we find the deed into her. Continue backwards from 64, and we happen to be in the same book. Okay, I'm up to 1964. I don't see the deed into Miss Maud, so we need to go back previous to this book, and this book starts in 1955, so let's go back to 1954. We'll continue in the grantee book backwards. And we'll start from 55 and continue backwards. This is where this book starts, 55. So we're looking for Mrs. Maud Sims Camp. Okay, here it is, our deed, and it is in book U, page 425. And the legal description that they have here matches the 90 acres. So we'll go ahead and pull that deed book and abstract that information. Page 425. Okay, as you can see, the deeds are actually typed with an old typewriter. As you get back in time, the technology was not as fancy, and we didn't have laser printers back then. So now these old deeds are actually hand typed up. Now, this is a warranty deed. It's a warranty deed, and it's dated 6/28/46. 6/28/46. And it's recorded 7/3/46. And the consideration is $4,500. And the legal description is 89.89 acres. And who sold it to Mrs. Sims? The grantor is H.C. Camp. H.C. Camp. Now we have all the deeds in the chain of title back 50 years, so we don't need to go back any further in time. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this chain of title and we're actually going to look at each person's name in the grantor book. We'll start with the oldest deed back in